Hello and welcome to Frost Over the World. Later in the programme, top Hollywood director Ridley Scott, a senior Hamas MP on Palestinian factional rivalry, and a look at this weekend's Emergency Economic Forum in Washington. But first, Darfur. This week, Sudan's President Omar al-Bashir announced an immediate ceasefire in the Darfur region of Western Sudan, where up to 300,000 people have died and more than 2 million have fled their homes in the last 5 years.
I hereby announce our immediate unconditional ceasefire between the armed forces and warring factions, provided that an effective monitoring mechanism be put into action and be observed by all parties.
The main rebel group, GEM, has rejected the move, saying it's just empty rhetoric and that President Bashir is not committed to peace. In a Frost Over the World Al Jazeera exclusive, I'm joined by both sides of the conflict. Their first face-to-face meeting, their first dialogue in 2 years. From the government side, Sudanese Ambassador to the UK, Omer Mohamed Ahmed Siddig, and the Speaker of the GEM Legislative Assembly, Dr. Tahir El-Faki. Ambassador, there's been ceasefires in the past which haven't worked out. Why do you think this ceasefire has a chance of working?
Thank you very much. Actually, as you said, you are right. A number of ceasefires declared unilaterally by the government side, but unfortunately we couldn't find reciprocation or good intention from the other party. And as you know, a ceasefire is a very important aspect in reaching a peaceful settlement because it is a sort of a confidence-building measure. Without having a ceasefire, you will not be able to enter into negotiations. This time we hope, and we really hope, that the other party, particularly Justice and Equality Movement, because they already have declared that they will not respect this ceasefire, we call on them seriously, because this is the call of the Sudanese people, that they will respect this time the ceasefire and go in good faith in observing and declaring also a ceasefire, so we can enter into negotiations to settle this problem, because the problem now is affecting thousands of people in IDP camps and refugee camps.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me turn to the chairman of the GEM rebel group, Dr. Al-Faki. Doctor, your response. You've rejected the idea of this ceasefire so far. Why is that?
First of all, thank you very much. GEM has had the experience with dishonored commitments before from the government of Sudan regarding ceasefires. We went into a ceasefire in N'Djamena 2004, again reiterated in Addis Ababa in 2004 as well. Then after the Darfur peace agreement, and the one that has been declared unilaterally by the Sudan government on the 27th of October last year, was dishonored on the same day, at the same moment when they declared that. So we have no confidence. We do not believe that the government is serious about it. What it is a public it's a public relation to ease the pressure by the International Criminal Court on al-Bashir. So there is no commitment, and it is also not unconditional. It was conditional. He based it on three things: that there will be disclosure of positions of the warring parties, that there will be provisions for observation, and then there will be the administration of the ceasefire done by the Sudan government. So this is not an unconditional offer.
Right. At that point, let me turn back to you. Thank you very much. Now turn back to you, Ambassador, to respond to that. And a number of people have said, quoting here, that the reason that the point that Dr. Al-Faki put there, that one of the reasons the President's made this announcement is because he wants to stop the indictment proceedings against him by the International Criminal Court. Is that one of the reasons why he's doing
this?
No,
absolutely not. Because not. Absolutely not. Because the call for the Sudan People Forum was declared in June 31st. That was almost 10 weeks before Ocampo came with his allegations against the President. So Absolutely, there is no connection between the two things. The other thing, Dr. Tahir said there's condition. There are no conditions. Perhaps this is ridiculous. I mean, what Dr. Tahir said, because whoever listened to the statement by the president or whoever read the outcome of the recommendations will realize that there was no condition. He said it clearly that this is a unilateral, non-conditional ceasefire. And he's talking about monitoring. Monitoring is something done internationally. In any ceasefire
so
situations.
The president's talking about monitoring.
Yes.
The situation being monitored.
Monitored, yes, and it has to be monitored by an independent and independent body, because to know exactly whether this ceasefire is holding or who is violating the ceasefire. So this is not a condition. It is actually a guarantee for having a sound ceasefire on the ground.
A guarantee, not an interference with the situation of the ceasefire. It's a guarantee that if there are monitors there, the ambassador is saying that is a guarantee that the thing will be upheld. But why do you think that those monitors are not doing will not do what the ambassador says they will do?
I don't think the ambassador has read or listened carefully to the statement done by al-Bashir. This is his. I have it here. I have read it over 10 times, word by word, and that is his commitment. He said he has given an unconditional ceasefire, but based on the following. And one of the serious thing is the disclosure of positions of the warring factions. This means he wants to know whereabouts of the parties in this conflict. On the other thing, GEM is committed to a ceasefire. We are committed to a peaceful settlement based on a ceasefire that is dependent on declaration of principles and framework agreement. We are not.
Forgive me interrupting just 1 second, but
yeah.
What is there that the ambassador's leader,
yeah.
the president, what could he do now to make this into a ceasefire that GEM would say yes to?
We have been through this for so many times. What we want to see is to see a commitment, to see that what he said is what he does, because we don't have trust in what he says.
I see. So that you want a commitment, and how does he make that commitment?
It is first of all, he should have stopped the hostilities. He should have disarmed the Janjaweed. He should have made it easy for the civilians and the internally displaced to move around. Our information as we speak is that Sudan government is building forces to attack us. That is undisputable.
Is it undisputable that they're building?
This is just ridiculous. And I think Dr. Tahir, he said he read this thing 10 times, and I don't think in the 10 times he understood what the president said. Yes. The thing is, monitoring is important. So this is not a condition. And the president said the monitors for the ceasefire, they have to specify the locations of the warring parties, because this is also a guarantee and one of the preconditions of any international monitoring for ceasefire. The warring parties must have a territory. They will not move out of that territory. So this is already done in an Abuja agreement, and it is an international norm. This is already.
But also, you were talking about Janjaweed there, Doctor. As I read the thing, that one of the things that the president is pledging to do is to disarm Janjaweed.
The militias.
The militias.
Yes. There is a serious call for disarming the militias. But as you know, disarmament cannot be done by force. Disarmament has to be done voluntarily, and everybody who has an arm cannot hand over his arm unless he is feeling secure for himself and his property. Therefore, the first call for having a ceasefire must be put into action by all parties, so the atmosphere for security and stability is nourished and is improved, so the other things like disarmament and the other actions can take place.
Doctor.
So here we are. He is saying categorically that the Janjaweed will not be disarmed. And
did he say that?
He said that. He said that the Janjaweed.
He said the militias, one of them being Janjaweed, would be disarmed, didn't he?
He didn't say the Janjaweed will be disarmed. He said militias. He corrected you by saying militias.
He did, but I assumed I assumed you include Janjaweed in the militias.
All the unruly militias.
He will not say the Janjaweed word. He will not say, because the whole thing is that the Janjaweed is a structure made by the government to do the dirty work for it. And when the president said it is in time, they will disarm the warring factions. He did not say militias. He said the warring factions, and also he did not say the Janjaweed. That is a very slippery game the president is going on. And the other thing is that the Janjaweed are changing according to the government in ways that they will look in concealment. They will not appear to be acting as Janjaweed. They will be incorporated in the structure of the Sudan Armed Forces and its other security forces.
Well, my ambassador, let's get this clear. I thought when you said militias, you included Janjaweed in that.
Of course, because now Darfur is awash of militias. We have tribal militias. We have the rebel movements themselves. They are just militias. See, we have tribal militias. We have armed robbers. They are militias. So the war in Darfur is not between the government and the rebel movements. The rebel movements are killing each other. Even within one rebel movement, we have tribal militias that can go for revenge or retaliation in case their tribe is attacked. So the call is not for disarming one side, for the entire structures, illegal structures in Darfur to be disarmed.
It may sound over-optimistic to you, but it seems to me, listening to this dialogue, that there is a real case for this dialogue to continue between the two sides, and that it is not impossible, to put it no higher, that out of that might come a true ceasefire.
JEM, as I said, is committed to a peaceful settlement. We said time and time again, this is a political problem. It has a regional dimension, and at the same time, it has a national dimension. And JEM is a national movement. So sorting this out will not be only by carrying arms, nor by the government to settle it militarily. We are committed to a negotiated settlement, and this negotiated settlement will lead to a declaration of principles, leading to a framework of agreement for cessation of hostilities, then followed by a ceasefire. But out of blue comes an initiative where it just says ceasefire. That is a fallacy. That's not going to work. We want a commitment.
I think Dr. Tahir is contradicting himself. If he says they are committed to peaceful settlement, the first thing to do is to accept a ceasefire. This is one thing. The other thing, he said he's a national movement. He's not a national movement. He's a tribal or sub-clan in one tribe. JEM is a sub-clan of one tribe in Southern Sudan. So he cannot call himself a national movement. He does not represent even a small section of Darfur population.
Do you agree with that? No, you don't.
That's nonsense, because first of all, I'm not from Darfur. I am from Kordofan, and I have roots in the northern part of Sudan. JEM is a national movement that has all the dimensions of the Sudanese people. There is, yes, it started as a small faction of it belongs to a specific tribe, but that has now been diluted by the national formula of the movement.
Right. Well, thank you both very much indeed, and thank you for this. This has been a unique occasion that the two of you could come together here and talk on television together, and we hope that from this beginning, which you have engineered here by being here especially today, that progress can be made. We thank you both.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
In a moment, I'll be joined by the Foreign Minister of Afghanistan, Rangin Dadfar Spanta. That's after the break. Our thanks to you both.